Alright, welcome back to the channel. Today we're moving into chapter 6 of the RSO early build from MiniArt. As you can see, I've already added some aging to the lower chassis. And next up, we're going to use a bit of Tamiya smoke to bring out some oiliness and grime around the engine.
The famous Steyr Daimler AG, the large Austrian conglomerate, responded by promising a small but fully tracked vehicle based upon its 1.5-ton truck, the Steyr 1500A, which was already in use in the German army.
I'm using this smoke to give this engine and this engine bay area an oily feel, and I kind of like what's going on. It really brings out the cooling fins on the cylinder walls. When the German army looked east in 1941, they discovered that the greatest enemy was not the Red Army, it was the Russian winter. Conventional trucks and half-tracks froze, wheels locked in ice, engines seized in temperatures that could strip life from steel. What was needed was a machine that could crawl, not roll, across the frozen landscape. At the heart of that solution lay a modest but determined engine, the Steyr 3.5-liter V8 gasoline power plant, a civilian design born not of war but of the Austrian countryside. Adapted from the Steyr 1500A light truck. this 8-cylinder engine became the beating heart of the Raupenschlepper Ost, the tracked tractor of the East. It produced roughly 85 horsepower at 3,600 RPM. Small by modern standards, but what it lacked in sheer power, it made up in rugged simplicity. Its air-cooled cylinders eliminated the vulnerability of frozen coolant, a constant killer in the Eastern Front. The compact design allowed for easy access to spark plugs and manifolds, critical for soldiers maintaining the vehicle in field conditions with numb, gloved hands and minimal tools. The V8 cylinder banks sat at a 90-degree angle, each fed by twin carburetors mounted under a simple air intake plenum. Everything about the engine was designed for ease of service, from the dry sump lubrication system that handled steep inclines to the broad, easily removable cowling panels that exposed the entire power unit within minutes. Reports from the field called the Steyr engine reliable but temperamental. It could start in the cold when most engines refused, yet demanded respect. Fouled plugs, poor fuel, or dust could rob it of strength quickly. Still, it was said that if you treated it right, the little Steyr would pull almost anything anywhere. When the Raupenschlepper Ost first appeared in 1942, it was not elegant nor fast, but its heart never faltered. On the muddy supply roads in waist-deep snow, towing guns and hauling wounded, that same 3.5-liter V8 became the quiet, unseen hero of the Eastern Front. The Steyr engine was not just machinery, it was endurance cast in metal. And as the smoke and snow of the Eastern War swallowed entire armies, it kept on turning, cylinder after cylinder, dragging the war machine of Germany just a little further into the cold.
Now I'm going to base out these exhaust pipes with a dark color. I thought I'd use a dark brown, but it actually looks more like black. Oh well. The main thing is to start with a nice dark base, and then you can come back in later with your lighter rust tones to build up the effect. When we talk about World War II vehicles, we think of engines, armor, and mud. But today, we're looking at something small that tells a big story: the seat cushions of the Raupenschlepper Ost. The RSO was a rugged little tractor built for the Eastern Front, simple, reliable, and brutally uncomfortable. Its seats were just two flat cushions, one to sit on, one to lean on. No springs, no padding luxury, just practicality in its purest form. Factory records and surviving examples show these cushions were stuffed with straw or horsehair and covered in dark artificial leather, what the Germans called Kunstleder. The sitting surface was black or a very dark brown, while the backside was plain canvas. The straw-colored fabric you'd only see if you turned the cushion over. Over time, the black coating cracked and peeled, revealing the tan cloth underneath. Add 80 years or sunlight, grime, and oil, and suddenly an old black seat can look completely straw-colored. That's why some restorations and even museum pieces appear lighter today. RSO seats hooked onto the cab wall with simple metal tabs and leather straps. They could be removed in seconds, handy when you needed a pillow or a dry seat after a snowstorm. In the field, when the covers tore, soldiers patched them with anything, canvas, tarp, even a burlap sack stuffed with hay. So yes, some field-repaired seats looked tan, but the factory, they were dark. One famous mix-up came when Dragon Models copied an RSO in a museum that had lost its seats. The museum had replaced them with American M113 seats, and the kit faithfully reproduced the mistake. A reminder, not every museum accurate detail actually is. Modern restorers now know better. The most accurate RSO seats are black leatherette cushions with canvas backing, just as they left Steyr's factory floor in 1942. If you see shiny black cushions in a restoration, they're likely correct. Bright khaki ones? Probably a field fix or a faded relic. So next time you spot an RSO, take a closer look at those humble pads. Beneath the mud and history lies a tiny detail that connects factory workers, soldiers, and today's restorers. A story literally sewn into the seat.
Well, as you can see here, I kind of jumped ahead a bit. I've already got that buff aging all over the inside of the cab, and it's looking pretty good. What I did was thin down some buff from Tamiya with plenty of water, sprayed it around, and then cleaned up any areas I didn't like. Now I'm using a bit of metallic paint on the tip of this brush to lightly dry brush some of the high points and bring out that surface detail. Next up, we'll be taking care of these shifters. There's one up front and one in the rear by the seat. It's definitely easier to install them when the instructions call for it, but I held off this time. I like to take things slow when I'm getting to know a kit, and since I knew there'd be a fair bit of weathering, I didn't want to risk snapping them off. Next time though, I'll follow the instructions and get them in earlier. As you can see, this was a bit of a struggle, but I finally got everything in place. So what I'm doing here is scraping away a bit of paint while fitting the dashboard, if you can call it a dashboard. What I really want to move on to now is installing the windows. The kit includes some nice clear plastic parts, but I wasn't too happy with how thick they were.
When you look through them, they're not perfectly clear. So I decided to try thinning them down with some sandpaper, gradually using finer grits to polish them back to clarity. That was the theory, at least. In practice, it turned out to be more work than I wanted to take on. I gave it a go, but in the end, I switched to some thin, clear acetate instead. My first approach was to use the kit's plastic parts as templates, cutting the acetate to shape, trimming the corners at 45 degrees, and then refining the edges with a sanding pad. That worked, but it was tricky and not very consistent. So I changed gears again and tried using my Cameo Silhouette vinyl cutter. I painted the kit's clear parts black, scanned them, and brought those into the Silhouette software to trace them and cut new templates. That process took a few tries, actually more than 4 or 5, before I got the sizing just right. I don't think I'll show the final version in this video, but you'll see the whole process and how it came together. Before installing the plastic, though, I decided to paint all the rubber ceiling strips that surrounded the windows. For that, I'm using some rubber black. The glass is pretty thick, unfortunately. I'm just going to polish it up, though. All right, well, I've dipped that in the Future, and now I gotta glue it in place. So I think I'm gonna use Future to glue it in place. So I've got a really fine brush here, and hopefully the capillary action will flow, and that'll get stuck. Ah! Right into the Future. Oh well, back to square one. I've done this about 3 times now.
Well, I'm really unhappy with how these look. They're too thick. So I've got a piece of acetate here. And even it's not perfect. But I'm going to try cutting a front window and see if that's going to look any better. All right, well, I've tried doing this about 3 times. It's taken me about an hour to get it sanded to fit properly. But I gotta tell you, you might think I'm crazy spending so much time and effort getting the window right. But I think windows are part of a kit that can either make or break if it looks real or not. And the plastic, clear plastic that you find in model kits is just too thick. Replacing it with this really thin acetate works for me. All right, let's see if I can get this to fit again. Because these things, it's not a perfect shape. There is differences in the corners and the width, and you got to keep that straight. All right, well, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to be doing some aging on the front. So while I could take the time, if these were going to be like brand new factory finish windows, I can make them even more perfect. I'm happy with these. So there you go. Now I can glue this onto the bottom of the cab. These are the motors for the windshield wipers. Pretty good detail. I should paint that before I fucking glue it in though. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Post-it note makes a good little thing to stick things on that you want to paint. Honk, honk. All right, and then we got this little piece here. That one goes right there. So that thing from the top. Did I cut it off? I might have cut it off. Shit. Yeah, I think I cut it off. Oh well. All right, we've got a few more items to stick inside here. These are 2 sunshades, I guess, curtains. I'm not sure what that is. This is a fire extinguisher. So I'm gonna go spray those and I'll be right back. All right, well, I've got those painted up. Now for this fire extinguisher, it's supposed to be red. And what I've done is I've painted the aluminum parts, and then I'll come back and I'll brush paint the red stuff. All right, and these have been painted khaki, but I still have to paint the straps. And they were supposed to be brown, but I think I'm gonna paint them black just so that there's more contrast. This thing, whatever it might be, is painted aluminum. I forgot I had to put this part on too before. So I'm gonna have to paint that red. Primer red. All right, well, I think I'm gonna use this color for the fire extinguisher. All right, let's find a good brush. This one looks like it might be good. Need to add a little more water so it flows. Oh, right into the red. Oh my God. Jeez, look at that. I can't win. All right. I need to do 2 coats. Right, well, we got this part B3 to stick on. And that goes underneath the chassis. I'm just test fitting this. Now, so it goes right in there, and that's mirrored over here. I guess that's a support for when it goes on the chassis. Yeah. All right, I'm going to make a little wash with Future and water and a little bit of this color. I think they call this a magic wash. All right, well, we've got this small little window for the back to do. So once I've shaped it to the proper size, all right, guys, I don't know about you, but I have like screw ups every now and then where I have to go back to square one. Unfortunately, the windows that I made before popped out and I tried to fix them and it didn't work out. But I came along and I'm starting to try cutting acetate with my Cameo and maybe make windows. I thought I had it, but I need to do some resizing. Another thing I want to point out that I need to work on is I don't think this little ledge is supposed to be here. So I'm gonna clean that up, make it flush. And so I think what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to repaint gray, come back in, paint the black trim, the rubber seal around the windows. And then hopefully the windows that I'm gonna make with my Cameo will just pop in properly. There's some slight adjustments I have to make with the pattern I have right now. Anyways, I've just been working on this for about 3 hours trying to get it back to a place where I'm happy. Okay, so back to square one. So I think the best approach here is just to use this curved scalpel blade
being ever so careful. As you can see, there's knockout marks that should be filled anyways that I never did. So I should have filled those in the back when anyway. So you should fill yours, right? I shouldn't have put that in yet. I could take it off probably, but I don't like ungluing things if possible. All right, so let's just pop that off for now. Ay, ay, ay. Could have all been done a lot easier before. I'm gonna have to take that out. No, maybe not. All right, I took that horn off because I need to be able to get in there. All right, so I've got another scalpel. This one is a little bit less curved. I mean, less big. I'm probably doing this kit a disservice, but that's me. I just like to have perfection. All right, well, I put some polyester Tamiya 2-part putty on there, and once it hardens, I'm gonna come back and see if I can sand it. How does it show in here? Ah, good, it doesn't. Can't see it. Have to spray the inside as well. I think I got to clean up this back window too. Okay, I've got this engine that I need to finish up before I want to move on. I'm gonna let this cure. I wonder where it's at right now. Yeah, it's still pretty soft. Tomorrow. What I need to do next, where are we at with this engine? All right, I've got to put this C22 on. Now, I think that might be a generator. I'm not sure. Okay, so that goes like that. So that would go in there. I couldn't find my parts for the longest time because I put them in this thing and then I didn't even remember that. In any case, let's pick out the ones I'm gonna need. So that will go in there. There's a little slot there. That'll go in like that. So I gotta paint that before I put it on. So we'll take care of that right now. C33.
That's C24. C32. We gotta find C31. Where are you? So these are the parts I'm gonna need to add to the engine. I wonder if I should paint them separate or put them in and then paint them. I don't know. Let's just prime them all for now. Okay, unfortunately, there's quite a bit of cleanup that has to happen. Nothing major, but you've got the seam from the mold that you'll want to clean up. That's not gonna work. All right, so everything is getting ready to be painted. All right, well, I cleaned up most of the Tamiya polyester putty. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use some Tamiya putty, which I thinned down with acetone. And I'm gonna do another fill. And then I'll come back and sand it nice and smooth. All right, so now that'll dry nicely, and I'll come back and I wonder if I should fill that.
All right, the thing with this MiniArt kit is that the way it's designed, if you build the engine with all the upper components, the fans, the air cleaner, and everything above the cylinder heads and cooling fins, you won't actually be able to fit the cab on top. The quick fix is to simply stop at the 8 cylinders and skip the upper parts. You don't really need the fans or the air cleaner unless you're doing a diorama showing an engine swap or maintenance scene, because it is a nicely detailed engine. But once the cab's in place, none of that will be visible anyway. In fact, the only part that you can even see, and only if you look carefully from underneath the side, are the cooling fins on the cylinder. So if the engine isn't going to be on display, you can safely leave off everything above that point.
Oh, of course I've got that upside down. What an idiot.
so I'm not sure why it's not talked about more.
Ah.
I mean, some good action scenes in a movie.
All right, this is part,
Last thing he saw before he died.
what is it?
Just people dressed up like animals.
Part C25,
That's how he went
and
out.
it goes in there.
That was the story.
Oh, you see, I got that wrong. Ah, everything I do is wrong.
And it's wonderful.
All right.
Gremlins are still silly in Gremlins 1, but like
No one will ever see
they're
that.
serious for me.
So, next up, we've got these parts,
They're designed to be a little funnier looking.
27 and 28.
In the first movie, the Gremlins and Gizmo are both so
Part of the exhaust system. So this is 27. right, the engine is pretty much getting there now. And just a few more parts to glue on. But first, we gotta paint this. Get this stupid fan. All right, let's get the fan belt in place. Oh shoot, I forgot I gotta paint that too. What color they want? They want aluminum for that. So where's my aluminum? I'm just gonna go with the silver. I can't find my aluminum right now. Oh well. All right, let's finally glue this on. I have to touch up that belt. And that hole needs a little drilling out there. So we'll just use my old X-Acto knife for that. All right, where's the glue? Well, it's not the best glue application I've ever done, but and just as I put it on, I broke that belt. Eh? It's okay. Easy fix. All right, we'll come back and touch that up. After it's had a chance to set, in the meantime, we've got to get this together. So they say paint this aluminum.
And that about does it for this part of the RSO early build. We've taken a good look at the Steyr 1500A engine and gone over the main components that made this little V8 such a tough workhorse out on the Eastern Front. In the next episode, we'll start tying everything together inside the chassis and move forward to getting this thing looking like a proper Raupenschlepper. Thanks for watching and hanging out with me in the shop. It's always great having you along for the ride. In the meantime and in between time, that's another edition of Jet Scale Models. Y'all come back now, you hear?